This evening, first, a businessman and local councillor is fatally stabbed. Police says a 16-year-old suspect is on the run. Plus, a government minister fires back at corruption allegations. Why she says the claims are completely false, and a New York-based doctor denies wrongdoings in a land deal scandal, but his responses leave more questions than answers. Meanwhile, a major national program gets a multi-million-dollar boost. How Men on a Mission plans to expand its efforts across Guyana. Finally, U.S. President Donald Trump makes a bold declaration, his controversial stance on the future of Gaza. Stay tuned, these stories and more tonight on Headline News Update. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for February 5th, 2025. I'm Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, police are searching for a 16-year-old suspect in connection with the fatal stabbing of 47-year-old businessman and councillor of Constituency 9, Kyle Anthony Solomon. The incident occurred around 4 a.m. this morning in Durban Backlands, Georgetown. According to police reports, Solomon confronted the teenage suspect attempting to break into his shop located about 30 feet south of his residence. The suspect attempted to flee after being caught, but Solomon pursued and confronted him. A heated argument ensued, during which the suspect reportedly pulled out a knife and stabbed Solomon multiple times in the chest, abdomen, ribs, and arm. The businessman collapsed at the scene while the suspect fled. Emergency responders later pronounced Solomon dead at the Georgetown Public Hospital. His body has been taken to the Memorial Gardens Funeral Home for a post-mortem examination. Authorities have questioned several individuals as part of the ongoing investigation and are actively working to apprehend the suspect. On a different note, Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Susan Rodriguez, has strongly denied allegations of land corruption levied against her by social media activist Melissa Atwell, also known as Melly Mel. In a statement on Wednesday, Rodriguez dismissed the claims as, quote, a complete fabrication, and accused Atwell of intentionally spreading false information before swiftly deleting the post. Atwell alleged that Rodriguez had sold land in Guyana and used the proceeds to purchase property overseas under a relative's name. The social media activist said she has proof that Rodriguez acquired land, and President Ali ordered she return said land. However, Atwell is alleging that the minister ended up selling the land for $1 million.
Mr. President, the paperwork will show. I am sure, and if I am lying, please release the paperwork. Please release the paperwork. And then when you release the paperwork, I will release the recordings.
Rodriguez condemned the accusations, stating that they were part of an ongoing pattern of defamation and harassment by Atwell. The minister reaffirmed her commitment to honest work and public service, rejecting any suggestions of misconduct. Rodriguez said she is consulting with her attorneys on the way forward. As we continue our coverage of allegations of misconduct at the highest levels of the public sector, a prominent New York-based Guyanese doctor is at the center of controversy as allegations of fraud, money laundering, and questionable land acquisitions in Guyana surface. For more on this developing story, we go to Malcolm Carter, who has been following the case closely.
New York-based Guyanese Dr. Philip Baldio has denied any wrongdoing amid allegations of fraud, money laundering, and the controversial acquisition of prime lands in Guyana. His land dealings came under scrutiny following revelations that Sharon Greaves, former chief executive officer of the Central Housing and Planning Authority, allegedly facilitated the sale of prime lands below market value. Greaves has since resigned, citing the toll of public scrutiny on his mental health and family. In an interview with journalist Travis Chase, Baldio, who has been linked to convicted U.S. fraudster Ed Ahmed, said he did not know that investing in companies associated with Ahmad for real estate purposes could be illegal. Dr. Baldio fiercely attempted to clarify his business relationship with Ahmad.
I have direct investment with a company that's associated with Ahmad.
Right.
If, however, it is deemed that 1% or 2% of my total net worth invested with this individual becomes a question, a moral and an ethical and a legal question, I will be out of it as fast as I can, on advice of counsel. I do not know the laws of Guyana,
Right.
and I will depend on counsel to tell me, doctor, your money is protected or it's not.
When questioned about his political ties, Baldio initially stated that he had supported the current government and assisted in their placement. However, when pressed for clarification, he attempted to walk back his statement.
I'm not big enough as physically, I'm a short person. I am not powerful enough to put the people in power. I help because I basically help because I made my patients aware that basically use your judgment when you're sending your money in your barrel, the barrels you're sending home. Make sure you understand from your relatives who are suffering how is it, what is the best means, what is the best approach that us as Guyanese, we have money. If you have money, bring your money back home, let's spend it, let's provide employment for the poor. I don't want to bring my money back and ask for land and ask for privilege and ask for contract.
Describing himself as a patriot, Baldio maintained that he purchased the lands from his own money in the United States and that he provided employment for thousands of Guyanese. When asked about a lie detector test, Baldio deflected, stating he would only agree if Chase did the same, to which Chase responded by stating he would not be questioned. Seconds later, Dr. Baldio reverted a statement saying he was, quote, willing to do anything with the advice of counsel. With mounting public scrutiny, Baldio's response have left lingering questions about his business relationships, political connections, and land acquisitions. Reporting for Headline News Update, Malcolm Carter.
Thanks, Malcolm. Stick around when we return. United States Postal Service reverses suspension of China package deliveries amid trade tension. And Men on a Mission expands nationwide with a $700 million budget for 2025.
It's Digicell's 18th anniversary and we're going big with our blowout sale. Get up to 40% off Samsung smartphones. Yes, you heard that right. 40% off Samsung smartphones. Grab the Samsung A05 for just $17,000, the A15 for only $27,000, and the A25 at a jaw-dropping $35,000. But wait, there's more. With every purchase, enjoy a 30-day free data plan to stay connected. Hurry to a Digicel store near you. Offer good while stocks last. Digicel, the network for everyone, everywhere.
Sneak in with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoons, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoons Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Welcome back. The Men on a Mission program, aimed at empowering men and supporting vulnerable communities, is set for a major expansion in 2025. For more on this story, we turn to Malcolm Carter, who has the details.
The Men on Mission program is set to expand its initiatives across Guyana with a $700 million budget allocation for 2025. Of this, $395 million will be dedicated to constructing 52 houses for vulnerable individuals nationwide. The funding is part of the $12.1 billion budget approved for the Office of the President by the Committee of Supply on Monday. Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance Gil Teixeira, while defending the budget allocation, highlighted the MOM's role in promoting gender equality, combating domestic violence, and fostering healthier community relationships.
Men on Mission is a rather interesting innovation in that it is for the first time trying to get men to be actively engaged as change agents, both in terms of community involvement and family involvement. As you're very aware in Guyana, that 29% of our homes are headed by single-headed women alone, and therefore one of its focuses is to encourage men working with their families and being responsible for their families. One of the big change agent issues is to do with responsible fatherhood, responsible husbandhood, responsible partnership.
The minister further emphasized the program's positive influence on society.
It's other areas to do with gender-based violence and being opposed to gender-based violence. Also in terms of mentorship programs working with young boys and men, including prisoners, in terms of positive behaviors and reducing violence. So it is a rather innovative thing. It's much broader in some ways than the Gender Affairs Bureau at the Ministry of Women's Services. It involves over 1,000 men for each region in some cases. And so it is a way of mobilizing men to get involved with campaigns to do with gender equality, domestic violence, and helping to change perceptions and create healthier relations between people, men and women and men, so as to reduce the level of violence in the society in general.
The program, which provided homes for 50 individuals in 2024, also facilitated mentorship, awareness campaigns, and support initiatives aimed at empowering men. Minister Teixeira said the 2025 budget will allow MOM to expand these efforts, reaching more communities with housing assistance, education, and motivational engagements.
The 2025 program is focusing again on the objectives of community engagement, mentorship programs, awareness programs, support programs. This is for support programs for men, focusing on emotional well-being as well as health.
In addition to MOM, the overall budget for the Office of the President plans to support various other national initiatives. Reporting of Headline News Update, Malcolm Carter.
Thanks, Malcolm. The Ministry of Housing and Water, through the Central Housing and Planning Authority, has announced temporary traffic restrictions at the Anteater Roundabout on Heroes Highway from February 5th to February 7th, 2025. During this period, one-lane traffic will be enforced daily from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. and again from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. to facilitate essential maintenance work. Motorists and pedestrians are urged to exercise caution, follow all directional and safety signs, and comply with instructions from flag personnel in the area. Minor traffic delays are expected as authorities work to ensure a safe and controlled passage through the construction zone. The ministry apologizes for any inconvenience caused and appreciates the public's cooperation during this time. Let's go. In other news, the United States Postal Service announced Wednesday that it will continue accepting international parcels from China and Hong Kong, reversing a decision made late Tuesday to suspend such shipments. While no official reasons was initially given for the suspension, the Postal Service later suggested it was linked to new tariffs imposed on Chinese goods. Implementing inspections to collect import taxes on these packages presents a significant logistical challenge. The initial suspension threatens e-commerce giants Shein and Temu, which ship low-cost goods directly to American consumers. Experts warn that enforcing tax collections on millions of daily packages would have been impractical and highly disruptive. Meanwhile, China has retaliated against the U.S. tariffs with new economic measures, including a 15% tax on coal and liquefied natural gas and a 10% tariff on crude oil, large cars, and machinery effective February 10th. Beijing has also imposed export controls on metal products and blacklisted 2 American firms. China's foreign minister criticized Washington's move, calling for an end to the, quote, unreasonable suppression of Chinese companies, end of quote. With tensions escalating, analysts predict delays in international shipments as authorities work to implement new trade regulations. Don't go away after the break. Murder suspect attacking courtroom by victim's family, and at least 10 dead in shooting at adult school in Sweden's Örebro.
Digicel is celebrating 18 amazing years, and we're giving you the ultimate shopping spree. That's right, top up with $1,000 or more, and you could be one of 4 lucky winners, each walking away with up to $1 million in groceries. Imagine filling your cards with everything you need and more, absolutely free. Top up now and get ready to dash for cards full of groceries. Digicel, the network for everyone, everywhere.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common Smalls make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Malcolm Carter and welcome to our regional and international news segment, which keeps you informed and up to date with the trending news stories worldwide. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a 63-year-old retired teacher has been charged with 4 counts of indecent assault against a minor. He pleaded not guilty in a family court, and his case was transferred to a Kingston Magistrates Court. Released on $3,000 EC bail, he is set to reappear on February 12th. If convicted, he faces up to 10 years in prison. The case remains under investigation. Meanwhile, in North America, a New Mexico murder suspect, Alexander Ortiz, was attacked in court by his alleged victim's uncle and stepfather during a plea hearing. Ortiz, charged with the 2024 murder of ex-girlfriend Aliana Farfan, was assaulted by Carlos Lucero and Pete Isasi, sparking a chaotic courtroom brawl. Both men were arrested and charged with battery on a peace officer. Ortiz remains in custody with his next hearing scheduled for Friday. We now turn our attention from a courtroom brawl in New Mexico to international controversy. President Donald Trump says he wants the U.S. to take over and, quote, own the Gaza Strip. Trump made the announcement during a joint news conference with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Al Jazeera's White House correspondent Kimberly Halkett reports.
I'm delighted to welcome
With the Israeli Prime Minister grinning by his side, U.S. President Donald Trump made a shocking announcement, Contrary to initial plans, Phase 3 of the Gaza ceasefire, reconstruction, is unlikely. Instead, Trump envisions something different.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, will own it, and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site. I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East.
The forced displacement of a population by an occupying power, Israel, violates international law. Trump reiterated his call for Egypt and Jordan to take in the 2 million displaced Palestinians, a plan both countries have rejected. Still, Trump believes he'll convince Arab nations to sign on to his vision for Gaza, ideas Benjamin Netanyahu also endorses.
President Trump is taking it to a much higher level. He sees a different future for that piece of land that has been the focus of so much terrorism. I think it's something that could change history.
Trump referred to Gaza repeatedly as hell and a demolition site, but he believes it can be transformed.
I envision a world, people living there, the world's people. I think you'll make that into an international, unbelievable place. I think the potential in the Gaza Strip is unbelievable. And I think the entire world, representatives from all over the world will be there, and they'll live there, Palestinians also. I don't want to be cute, I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East.
And in the midst of a fragile ceasefire, Trump made yet another controversial remark about Palestinian sovereignty over the West Bank and whether the U.S. supports annexing it.
We haven't taken a position on it yet, but we'll be making an announcement probably on that very specific topic over the next 4 weeks.
On Wednesday, the Israeli Prime Minister meets with the U.S. National Security Advisor and Defense Secretary at the Pentagon. And he wraps up his visit to the United States on Capitol Hill, meeting with senior congressional leaders. Kimberly Helkett, Al Jazeera, the White House.
Finally, at least 10 people have been killed in what Sweden's Prime Minister describes as the worst mass shooting in the country's history. More casualties are in hospital after a gunman opened fire at a college in the city of Örebro. Al Jazeera's Paul Reeves reports.
Another night in Sweden and another crime scene, but this one was nothing like anything that has gone before. Gangland killings have become routine in this part of Scandinavia, but the mass shooting at an adult college in the city of Örebro on Tuesday was something else altogether, leaving a country in sorrow and a community traumatized.
En kille bredvid mig, han fick skjuta här I axel. A guy next to me was shot in the shoulder. He was bleeding a lot. When I looked behind me, I saw 3 people on the floor bleeding. Everyone was shocked. They said, "Get out, get out." My friend and I tried to save this person. People were very shocked. The police were not on site and neither was the ambulance, so we had to help. I took my friend's shawl and I tied it tightly around his shoulder so that he wouldn't bleed as much.
Police said they believed the suspect was among the dead, acted alone, and was not a gang member. Swedish media reported he was a 35-year-old man and held a gun license, but his identity had not been released on Tuesday night.
We now know that about 10 people have lost their lives. We can't provide more specifics at this time. The reason for this is the number of injured.
The killing began at about 12:30 in the afternoon. Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson called it a nightmare that no one should have to go through.
It is difficult to take in the magnitude of what has happened today, the darkness that is falling over Sweden tonight. What simply cannot happen has now also happened in Sweden.
The questions over how it has been allowed to happen are only just beginning. Sweden has faced unprecedented levels of violence in the past 10 years. January had already seen a series of gangland shootings and bombings, but a crime of this nature has left the country in shock. Paul Rees, Al Jazeera, Stockholm.
That wraps up our regional and international news segment for tonight. Thank you for joining us as we bring you the latest updates from around the globe. I'm Malcolm Carter. Good night. See you next time. Back to you, Bibi.
Thanks, Malcolm. Up next is the 3D weather forecast. And that's Safe TV2 headline news for this Wednesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.